Hey everyone, today we're very lucky. We've got a special guest. We've got Ellen. Ellen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you're very welcome. Ellen, what's your Instagram handle, just so people can follow you if they like what they see?
Ellen Bell Coach.
Perfect. And in terms of the word coach, tell us. So you're a personal trainer coach, aren't you?
Yeah, so I've actually only been a personal trainer since January 2020. So haven't really had a normal experience with being a trainer due to COVID, but I guess things are starting to level out a little bit now. But yeah, I work in a private studio and I'm also looking to build my online business as well.
So in terms of that online business side of things, is that where you're looking at individual people training with you, or is it more group based?
I think I'd probably start with individual clients. And then maybe in the future move on to more passive income, like a membership platform type thing.
Cool. And
it's hard to try and be unique in this industry because I feel like everyone's just got apps and memberships, and it's just trying to find something that's actually unique whilst helping people at the same time.
But in terms of that uniqueness, I know through kind of following you for a while that you're obviously like a very passionate, motivated coach. But a part of what you do isn't just about teaching someone how to do a perfectly formed bench press and kind of getting in shape. It's a bit broader than that. And I know you kind of focus on that kind of holistic side. So in fact, I think that is something that's quite unique. But do you want to talk a little bit about how you approach things?
Yeah, well, I think I just started to notice as soon as I started training people is how much they need help in so many other areas of life rather than just body composition or weight loss or muscle gain. And they have so many other things going on that they need to work on probably first before they delve into the more hardcore training. I mean, I think everyone in this day and age seems to be overstressed, overworked, and it just shows in kind of their energy that they bring in and their stress levels. And sometimes the last thing that someone needs, if they're like a single mum and they work full time and whatever, is to get thrashed in the gym, when actually so many people probably need to start working on themselves from the inside out. So taking care of their mental health, taking care of their stress levels, really trying to just like calm themselves down, just be truly happy within themselves, get comfortable within their bodies, and then start working on the physical aspects. But even before that, people should probably work on mobility first, how their body moves, how their body feels, their posture. And then it's the final stage of actual exercise resistance training. So it's really like a 3-part model that I try to train my clients in. And you really do have to start from the beginning, like the basics, before you can even consider getting them under a bar or a squat rack.
Yeah, I think that is something that is unique because a lot of people just go head first into the training itself. Is it something when you're onboarding a new client, you kind of have that initial sit down, whether it's a physical sit down or online, and just kind of say, look, just tell me about your life. Like, what's that process you go through?
Yeah, so I always take them through like a wellness assessment. So a lot of it will be obviously physically assessing them because I need to see what kind of state they're in before I can start training them. So I'll assess them physically in terms of how they move and everything. But I also take them through quite an extensive questionnaire about their life, obviously their diet, but also just their stress levels, their workload, and just really try and find out everything about them. And you can pretty much gauge where they're at in their life as well, just through their body language and the way that they talk to themselves, about themselves, how they present themselves. And a lot of people are very stressed and a lot of people seem to hate themselves in this day and age.
How am I presenting myself?
Chill, you seem fine.
A guide of a man who loves his fitness, but also eats a bit too much every now and then.
That's not the worst thing.
Balance.
Yeah, it's all about balance, everything in moderation.
Cool. So Ellen, you're 25 now, is that right?
Yeah, I just turned 25.
Cool. Happy birthday for whenever that was.
Thank you.
You went to university, but obviously you've now kind of come into the kind of that personal. What was the reason for that transition? What made you later to get into it?
I first started training at the gym at uni. I've always been into fitness and sports and everything. When I was in school, I was kind of on all the fitness teams, and I was into like running and dance and all that stuff. But uni was the first time that I actually started training.
Yeah.
And I think as soon as I started that, my passion just kind of grew and grew. And then as each year went by, I learned more about training and just got more into it.
And when you're saying training, are you talking about lifting weights? Because I think there's
yeah, lifting weights. I mean, I still ran. I was part of a dance society, so I still had like an all-round kind of fitness regime. But the gym was like when I first discovered the gym at uni.
Yeah.
And then it was probably in second year that I started to think about actually turning it into a career, because obviously, you know, I only had 1 year left and I needed to start thinking about jobs. And I was thinking, maybe I actually want to make fitness my lifestyle, because I loved it so much and I just couldn't bear the thought of working in like an office or anything like that. And then it was really final year where I was like, okay, I'm graduating in a few months. Like, what am I going to do? And I just thought, what the hell, I'll just get my qualification and give it a go. Because I think I knew I just wanted to be in the fitness industry. I wasn't necessarily passionate about being a personal trainer specifically, but I thought getting my qualification was like the foot in the door. It's the first thing, you know, to start with. And then as soon as I started, I actually realized how much I loved it, and I just haven't looked back since.
There's always that kind of inner peace with yourself that that's the right call, because you just love what you do, which I think, yeah, is so important. And so many people don't necessarily follow that. They do something that they say is well paid, but they don't have that satisfaction. Whereas I think as a personal trainer, you're out there and you're just constantly getting that daily feedback and you go, I love this. And I think that,
yeah, especially having dealt with it during a pandemic, which has just, you know, made my life so difficult and stressful. But despite that, I've still wanted to continue and I haven't given up. And I know that it's, you know, the job for me. It's just has its struggles, which
I think personal trainers, coaches are more needed now than ever, and gyms as a whole, because whilst people generally have been more aware of their health and fitness whilst in lockdown, that they've kind of invested in gym equipment like us, which is obviously amazing. They've also invested heavily in takeaways. So I think there's definitely a balance to happen. And a lot of people now are probably, as we're coming out of lockdown, a good kind of 10, 12, 15 pounds heavier. And whilst they've been exercising more, they've also been eating more. And I think a lot of those trends are there to stay. So I think getting more and more people active is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, the first when we got out of the first lockdown last year, I started working in a private studio, and the first clients I got were a couple that had put on like 2 stone or something in lockdown, which is quite a lot considering it was only a couple months. And yeah, it is quite a lot, and I'm sure people are still carrying the weight that they've put on from last year. So that's the problem. It's so easy to put on weight, but it takes a long time to get it off.
Yes, I guess actually that's again probably a challenge that you have as a personal trainer. Is it might have taken someone, I don't know, 2, 5, 10 years to get to a position where they're heavily overweight, but they expect those results immediately. So how do you work with your clients to kind of manage expectations and say, look, it's taken you 2 years to get it off, you're not just going to lose it in the next 2 weeks?
I think it's just being patient with yourself. It's trying to teach them patience, and it's trying to teach them to completely change how they speak to themselves in their head, because so many clients are so hard on themselves when they're in a session with me, and it's trying to just remind them that, you know, it's normal and they just have to be patient and learn to love themselves a little bit.
I think patience is something that societally people aren't very good at anymore. And that's partly because of technology. So, for example, with the Deliveroo, you order some food, it turns up half an hour later. We used to go and waiting a week to watch, say, a TV series. Now you can binge watch a whole season on Netflix without any breaks. You can meet a husband or a wife on Tinder with a click of a button. And so it's kind of really, we expect that immediacy of results. And sometimes I see when you're going into kind of personal training, people do expect immediate results. And sometimes they're artificial, because you could work with, say, an obese female, and you could absolutely kind of rinse her in terms of the dropping her calories right down, get her exercise and those, and she will lose a lot of weight, but it's not necessarily going to be something they can maintain. And sometimes slow and steady as a part of a bigger plan and being kind of patient is is the best approach for long-term improvements?
Absolutely. You need to find something that's sustainable, that you can just fit into your lifestyle and do it for the rest of your life. It's not about quick fixes or 12-week challenges. It's actually just turning fitness into your lifestyle. But yeah, no, I hate the kind of clients that obsess with like the scales, because I've actually lost clients in the past who only care about what they weigh. And obviously when I've trained some clients in the past and they've put on weight because they're adding muscle, and they don't care about that. They don't care that they're getting stronger. They don't care that they're gaining muscle. They just care that the scales are going up rather than down. And they're not open enough to realize that when you're building muscle, you're going to be speeding up your metabolism. And then in the long run, you will be losing weight. And eventually you will get to the weight that you want, but they don't have the patience to get to that point.
Yeah, and I think that's something that some kind of weight loss companies pry on, that insecurity and that need to kind of get instant results. But sometimes if someone's losing 5 or 6 pounds a week, you're not just losing fat there, you're losing muscle. And then when you kind of switch back to your normal diet, you're suddenly going to be gaining more weight because you reduce your muscle mass, you reduce the metabolism, and you're actually in a much worse shape. And that's why we see people ballooning, which you need to get out of that. So I think people like you that look at things holistically is definitely the way forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I think we've got a really good feel for what you're about as a personal trainer, as a coach. And I think, yeah, there's clearly some great stuff there. So the big question, are you ready to be grilled?
Yes, always.
Our killer question. So we're going to put you under pressure a little bit. We're going to ask you some quick fire questions. Don't overthink and just try and respond as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Favorite exercise? Just one.
Squats.
Squats? Front squats, back squats?
Back squats.
Worst exercise? Least favorite?
God, I like a lot. I like most things. Oh my God, what don't I like? Oh, deficit split squats.
Just painful.
Horrible.
Mine's probably deadlifts, because we've been doing a lot of competitions recently at different sports events. We've had a deadlift competition and I'm fairly strong at a lot of exercises. Deadlifts, just haven't got the lower back for it. And I get rounded, my technique goes, and yeah, it's not the one for me. It's not the one for me.
I actually only use the trap bar for deadlifting for that same reason. And my lower back is really dodgy. So when having the bar in front just really messes up my back. But if I've got the neutral grip on either side, I can deadlift fine. And I like the trap bar. That's fine. But yeah, I don't touch.
Our trap bar, however, they've just sold out. If you could only work out with dumbbells or kettlebells, which would you use?
Dumbbells.
A bit more variety there.
Yeah, I feel like you can do everything that it can do everything that a kettlebell can do, but it's probably just easier to hold on to. You can hold it in various ways. I don't know.
This is a tough question. Your best client at the moment. You can only choose one. I'm sure you've got loads of great clients, but give one a shout out. Who's absolutely smashing it right now?
My best client, I think, is actually my biggest client in terms of weight. But when I first took him through the wellness, I was like so impressed with how his body moved. So I've got like clients who are younger, half the size, just, everything just completely different, but their mobility just doesn't even compare to how he can move. Like he can squat perfectly. He's got like really flexible hamstrings.
Pardon?
Mark McKenzie.
Smashing it, Mark. Cheat meal, favorite cheat meal?
Pizza.
Domino's, Pizza Hut, or are you going homemade?
No, it would be more like a good rustic Italian pizza from like a nice restaurant.
I'm with you there. What's your biggest insecurity body-wise?
Probably my rib cage, if that makes sense. Like my bony architecture, which is going to sound bizarre, but basically my ribs and my hip bones are basically perfectly in line. So I don't have that nice like hourglass figure because my waist stops when my ribs stop.
It's so important to talk about because you clearly train a lot, you're in great shape, but everyone's got insecurities. And I think say with Instagram, which is obviously a big part of kind of where we are, we're continually pushing out this kind of perfect picture of what a man or a woman should look like, but everyone's different. And you can go as hard as you want. People have different genetic codes, different abilities to gain muscle, different places they store fat, and different skeletal structure. So it's great to kind of put a bit of light on that.
And I think that when you don't have the knowledge of the body like personal trainers do, you look at someone with this perfect figure and you think that you can attain it if you work hard enough. But if your skeletal structure is completely different, then you will never look like that. And it took me a while to actually understand that, because I was, you know, I mean, even at uni, I actually got down to like an unhealthy body weight because I was trying to get that waist that I wanted. When really I could never attain it, because it's not got anything to do with my fat percentage. It's just the way that my bones are structured. So it's important that people do that.
Really good to share. Do you track your calories?
Nope.
Not at all. Don't believe in it. Not when I say believe in it, not the science, but the actual kind of as a holistic.
I just kind of intuitively eat. I think it's fine if people want to track their calories, but you know, I know what I need to eat, and I don't feel the need to do it. Sometimes I'll track a particular meal just out of curiosity to see how many calories are in it. But no, I mean, I'm maintaining anyway, so I'm not bulking or cutting. So I feel like I don't need to do that.
No, I think that's fair. I think for me personally, I think it's good for people to track for a period so they learn about food. But once you've got knowledge, it's an optional thing. And if you've got something, say a holiday where you want to cut for and just get yourself, then it makes sense. But as a day, it's just intuitive eating, isn't it?
Yeah, because it doesn't teach you sort of it doesn't train you to do it intuitively, because you just rely on the tracker. But if you start to just kind of eat what you know you should be eating, and then seeing how your body changes and doing it sort of that way, I think that's a more healthy way to kind of have a relationship with food.
One of the more kind of useful things for me with tracking is when I used to have cereal, whether that's kind of your bog standard cereal in a box or even oats, I tracked my calories on MyFitnessPal, and I suddenly realized I'm eating like 4 portions of what they kind of claim the calories are. Because you look at the calories, that's pretty good. I'm eating more like 900 calories because I'm having 3 times the portion.
Yeah. No, it is good for awareness.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What's your strongest lift?
On
the back squat?
Yeah, back squat. Yeah, probably back squat.
Cool. Celebrities that you think have got just in phenomenal shape. One man, one woman.
Morgan Rose, she's a Gymshark athlete / gymnast, and Chris Hemsworth, he's obviously an actor, but he's got that fitness company as well, hasn't he? So he's kind of got the full package.
He's in fucking cracking shape, given that.
Yeah.
What's the biggest mistake you've made with your own kind of fitness journey or kind of body goal journey?
2 things. The first one, which I think is very common for women, overly obsess on cardio. I would do way too much cardio and not enough weights, and I just went through a bad period of basically starving myself rather than eating a healthy amount of food in a calorie deficit to lose weight.
It happens a lot, doesn't it? It really does.
Yeah, it's really common. It's just lack of knowledge. And I think when you start to do it in an unhealthy way, but then you're seeing results, it kind of just spirals and you keep doing it, and then it just everything goes out of control.
No, I've been there, and I think a lot of people have. Would you rather what you deem to be the perfect bum or the perfect abs?
Bum.
Bum.
Yeah.
Who should we follow on Instagram or Facebook or just social media? Is there anyone you recommend that we should definitely check out?
I would check out, I don't know what the handle is, so I'm just going to have to get it up, but it's like this page that I discovered, and they really specialize in like kind of animal flow movements. It's really cool. It's kind of like, I've never seen this person move like this before, but they literally combine like yoga, calisthenics, gymnastics, dance, like all in one, to this like really cool sort of flowy state. And they do like qualifications in it. I don't know what it's called though.
It's all right. Well, if we, I mean, I think I'm certainly intrigued. So when we post this up, if you just share it after, but I think that's definitely something that's worth checking out.
Oh, here it is. It's like Slava Golubov. No wonder I didn't remember that. So still post that because people will have no idea like how to type that in.
I think things like that are really because interested. It's a different way to approach things. One account that a lot of people follow, but I've only actually been following it for the last couple of months, is Squat University.
Oh yeah, yes, I follow them.
Really, really good. There's a lot of kind of science behind the list, and yeah,
it's amazing. Really good knowledge.
I think you have passed our killer questions with flying colours. I think you're quite a chill person, so you've not got too frantic.
Thanks.
I'm talking to us today, and I know we'll probably see a lot more of you. I know we've got a few things lined up in the future. I think we'll get you on for a live workout at some point, hopefully.
Yeah, great. Definitely. That sounds good.
Perfect. And then we finish with a pose off. So you've got to give us your ultimate pose, gym pose, and then we'll say goodbye. Nailed it. Right, lovely chatting to you, Ella.
You too. Speak to you soon.